Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer. Welcome back to American Truck Simulator, and welcome to Vernal, Utah. This is the International LoneStar. This is a new truck for the game. It is base game. You don't have to buy it. It's not a DLC. It's just in the game now. And I have tried on I want to say about a dozen different owned trailers here in Vernal. There are not a lot of cargoes going out of this town. So let's turn our turn signal off. Let's hop in here. And it is evening. I've slept through several days. Like I said, there's not a lot of cargoes heading out of here. So we did find one. It's going to Moab, and that'll take us through Price. And Price is another city on our tick list that we haven't come across yet. So it's going to be, man, it's been a week. It's Friday the 13th. Oh, is it? Is it now? Does that mean something bad is going to happen? Because it's been a hell of a week for me. Let me tell you. So let's talk about this truck first. I saw a notice for this a few days ago that this was going to be in the game, and then it was just right there. All of a sudden, it was just right there. So very cool. I mean, it's not my style of truck. I'm driving it for you, and because we had enough money to buy and build one. Not my kind of truck, but I think it's very cool that they are adding this content to the game. And I did see on one of their threads somewhere, I saw the developers had a long list. Like, if you own any of these trucks, we want to record the sound of them. And there were quite a few on there. I don't know if that's a wish list for the developer or if that really is all the trucks that they want to bring to the game. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if they're covering their bases and just getting a lot of data on a lot of trucks, or if those are all going to be brought to the game. But it was a nice list. And now, as I was setting this truck up, and this isn't a complaint, just an observation. As I was setting the truck up, I did realize that mod trucks and mod tuning packs have really a lot more tuning slots than base game trucks. And because... Oh, I just noticed something. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. All right, I'll tell you this as we get going, but let's tie off this thought first. So the number of trucks that are available and the number of tuning points that are available on those trucks, I think is a lot greater, obviously, with mods. So the licensing, being able to have an official truck in the game, I get that part. That the developers can't just like willy-nilly start putting actual branded trucks in the game. They got to get the license and get all the permission and do that. But the tuning stuff, I think they could do that. I don't want to say better. That's not fair to the developers, but you know what I mean. If modders can do it, I don't know why developers can't have as many tuning slots on the trucks, because that really is something that we as sim truckers, it's a lot of fun to build these trucks. In some ways, it's even more fun than driving them. In some ways, not entirely. But anyway, story for another day. So looking down at the instruments on this truck, we've got a DNR. And I know more and more trucks are going automatic. A friend of mine is a trucker. And he said, yeah, these guys, you'd think that they would be sort of opposed to that. These old timers, oh hell, if you can't drive a whatever, then you're not a real trucker. And he said, no, that's not the case at all. They love it, and it's because so many of these old truckers, their knees are blown out from working the clutch in a big truck. So the idea of getting into a city and having to sit in traffic and to be able to do that in an automatic, these old truckers are like, oh hell yeah, yes, bring that on. So more and more new trucks, both for the economy aspect of it, like the fuel efficiency aspect of it, and also for just how much easier it is to drive the truck. They're all over it. So yeah, this truck, I believe, is an automatic. Now, you can set up an automatic transmission in your settings when you get into a truck, and if you drive one truck only, as we do on ETS, we're just driving that DAF. If you drive one truck only, I suppose it would be just kind of a one-time thing to swap your settings over to automatic in this case, and then just leave it there for as long as you're in that truck. So we're only going to be in this truck one episode, but this is an automatic. Fantastic. So what else is going on? Off camera, I lost a fan in my gaming laptop, and it's a funny thing because it's been rattling for a year. Now, I know. Golly, Will, a fan in your laptop has been rattling for a year, and you know you don't want to mess with heat in laptops. You really don't, because they're tight in there, and it's really heat management in laptops is a lot more. You got to be a lot more aggressive about it than you do in a PC, like a desktop PC. So, can I turn here? So yeah, you had a rattling fan for a year, all right, and you didn't want to do anything about that. Well, what I figured was, at some point the rattle will get worse, right, and then I'll just replace it, either replace the whole system or replace that fan if I can, or whatever. We'll figure it out. And it never got worse, and I never had any cooling problems at all. And then I noticed it was getting a little bit worse. It was rattling a little bit louder. So what did I do? I took my can of air. I snatched it up, and I sprayed out that laptop. And a little bit of dust came out, but I sprayed out pretty regularly. But then when I fired it up again, the rattling was even louder. And I thought, well, what I've done is I broke the fan. Because you know, if you get a little too aggressive with your air duster, you can spin a bearing in one of those fans. They're kind of fragile. You know, they're delicate. So I thought, I spun a bearing, and now it's getting worse. So whatever, we'll just need to run until it fails, and it sounds like it's about to do that. But then it didn't. It was just rattling, and it was driving me crazy, and it was so loud that I knew it was going to interfere with recordings. I don't know if you've ever heard the quiet rattling, the previous quiet rattling, but this would have been a lot louder. No good. So I took the back off, and what I noticed was there was a foil layer, a perforated foil layer inside the grill vents on what would be the underside of the laptop. And I don't know why you would do that, because it seems like it would reflect heat back in. I wanted to make that turn right there, but I think I can make this one if I can swing it wide enough. So I guess the reason they put that foil in is to keep it cool on your legs if you ever have it on your lap. But nobody does that. Nobody puts a laptop on their lap. So I feel like all that foil does is reflect heat back into the laptop. And I also noticed that it was a little kind of puffed out. It was a little bowed out toward the inside. So I put on my detective hat, and what I realized was that foil had been sort of laminated onto that grill, right? And when I hit it with the air duster, what I did was I lifted it up a little bit. Just a little bit, and I pushed it in toward the fan, and that's what that rattling had been these many months, right? So, it's my fault. I did that. And that wasn't a big deal. It wasn't impacting it in any way. So it was just that sound. But that sound that I've had to hear for like a year has been, that was my fault. No problem. All right, now hopefully this job is still here. So let's get down to neutral. All right. Let's see what we got. And it was going to Moab, was it not? And it's gone. But what else do we have? Do we have anything going to... We got one going to there. We got one going to there. Now, if we go here, we can duck down and see price. Man, I can't believe we missed that job. And Salt Lake. Now, this is going out beyond Salt Lake. Let's take this one, because it's going out to, like, somewhere in the middle of nowhere out here. That looks fun. Right. What the hell was I talking about? Right, my foil, my fan. Brake is off. Put her in gear. Where is this thing? Over there somewhere. So I think to myself, well, this foil, all it's doing is keeping heat in my laptop and preventing me from warming up my thighs. If I were to put this laptop on my thighs, I don't do that. Let's just cut this foil out. All right? You see where this is headed. Nowhere good. So I take my X-Acto knife and I do exactly that. I cut the foil out. And it's just kind of, like I said, laminated on there. So we get that out of there. And no problem. If anything, it improved the airflow. Because it was, the holes in the foil were smaller than the holes in the grill. So if anything, it did really improve airflow down into the laptop. I don't... Yeah, maybe we can do this if we get back into that little crevice over there. We can get this in one swing. All right. Go right there. I know we gotta get it cranked over. I think we can. So, I put everything back together, and it's fine. The rattle is gone. I have solved the rattle, right? And to finish things off, I take my can of air, and I give it one final dust off, right? And then I start it back up one more time, and I immediately get a warning, fan error. What you want to do, cowboy? Because it does allow you to override. So I took the back off again, and I started it with the back off. Both fans are turning. Both fans are coming up to speed. I have a CPU and GPU temp monitor, and my temps are fine. I actually have those apps because of that rattle. You know, I wanted to be able to keep an eye on things. So CPU, and the fan that is bad now is the CPU fan. CPU temp is 45 at idle, 85 when gaming. That is completely normal. So, hang on. Let's get loaded up here. Engine is off. Load up. We are going to be driving at night a little bit, but I think the sun will be rising. But you know what? We don't... I try so hard not to drive at night that we never drive at night. I wouldn't mind a night episode. Lights are on. Up in here. Take a look there. Beautiful. Brakes off. Let's go. So, I did find a fan. I did get one ordered. It will be here tomorrow. I didn't have it overnighted because it was like 85 bucks for a $10 fan. That seems a bit reckless. But in the meantime, we are, like I said, my temps are fine. Even with that fan warning on startup, my temps are fine. But it was like an all-day process. And I had... hang on, getting turned around here. I had gone so far as to like go to the Omen store, the HP Omen store. I'm a big fan of Omen. They've treated me right. HP has treated me right for years. I find them to be, I know, they're all made in the same factory. Every brand, every company, they're all made by subcontractors. I know. But I've had good luck with HP, and they really, I'm not rough on my equipment, but I'm not always as, you know what I mean? I'm not always as gentle as I'd like to be, or as I'm able to be. And HP really takes some abuse. I've been very, very pleased with their products, and I love this little HP Omen 15 laptop that I got. It's always treated me right, and I was just going to get another one. Another HP Omen, not another 15-inch laptop. Although, I did find, I found an i9 RTX 2080 15-inch laptop, and I thought that would work for me. The only problem is it's very expensive, and I don't need necessarily a laptop. I can go desktop now. I'm the somewhat less than portable gamer. So anyway, that's my tale of woe. That's how it all went down. But it worked out, and we're up and recording right now. It's gonna sound so corny, but that was like, I was kind of worried about that. I was like, wow, how am I gonna make my videos? I can't miss a day. I'm really, I try to be really adamant about always delivering content. And I was trying to figure out, like, if I'm down for 2 or 3 days till we either get a fan in here or till we get a new system in here, how am I going to record for all you good people? And I was looking for a quick fix to that because I didn't want to let you down. So anyway, that is what's going on there. As far as gaming itself, man, it's been, I thought December was going to be kind of dead. Like the first week or so, maybe. The last week of November, first week of December, Black Friday, everybody's trying to get their new stuff out. I thought this is going to be, you know, from December till mid-January, nothing. And instead it's been, I mean, you have things like this truck. There was a big update for Dirt Rally 2.0. There was a big update for Train Sim World, and then a DLC. Now, I knew the DLC was coming, but I didn't know that big update was coming. It was like 14 gig worth of update. So that happened. This truck, I knew was on the horizon. I didn't expect it today. And what else? We still have Chernobyl for spin tires. And is there one more? Oh, there's been a lot going on, I guess is what I'm saying. Race Room. There was a drop for Race Room, 5 new cars and a new track, and also a big update. And they fixed and patched and evolved a lot of things. So it has really been a much busier December, and it's only the middle of December. It's the 13th, Friday the 13th. It's been a much busier December than I anticipated, so I'm really having a blast. I love doing new stuff for you. I do. I mean, we may not talk about it. I don't think any YouTuber really wants to dwell on it, but I know that all of you really like to see new stuff, and I do as well. And you can see that on any YouTuber series. The first video of a series for a new game does like 5x what episode number 2 does, and 20x what the final episode in the series does. And that's just the nature of YouTube. I'm sure it's the same with movies. You know, the first movie always does better than the sequel. And, you know, TV shows start popular. Well, I guess we don't really have TV shows anymore. Netflix, whatever you want to call that. But early on, it's always more popular than later. So I know you want to see new stuff. I want to see new stuff. And when I have the opportunity to make videos of new stuff for you, I really, really enjoy that. I mean, I like these long sort of story mode series that we're doing, like we do with the trucks and like we do on the farms. But when something new comes out, man, that's exciting for me, because I haven't seen it either. And to be able to make a video of something that I'm seeing for the first time, you're seeing it for the first time, you know, that's really cool for me. And I know you like it as well. So for there to be a month with a lot of new stuff, very cool. Very cool. And what else is going on? Getting back into iRacing. And that is, iRacing. iRacing is very, very cool. It is the most intense experience that I've ever had gaming. I love it. It's hard. It really is. And I'm sort of coming to terms with the fact that I may not ever be in the top split. Well, in fact, I know I never will be. I don't have those alien skills. I will never be a top split pro racer. I can watch those guys on the YouTube. I can watch them in broadcast coverage, but I will never race with them. I've been in practice with a few of them a couple times. I've seen some famous names in there, and it's crazy to watch them drive. You know, and I can turn a 141, and I think, you know, that's about as good as it can get right now. I need another 100 laps of practice before I can turn a 140. And the other people that are sort of in my category, they're turning 138s and 139s and 140s. And then one of these aliens comes in and turns like a 133. And I think, yeah, man, I can't get there. I'm not going to be able to get there. So I know I'll never race with those people. And that's cool. That's why they have the split system. That's why they have the brackets. But even within my own splits, I don't know that I'm ever going to be winning races. I hear people say, you know, it took me a year to win my first race. Now, I did level up. I'm an A license with a 5.0 safety rating. But my I rating, not so good. It's not nearly what I want it to be. But you can sort of trade those one against the other. If you're not into iRacing, you got your safety rating. It's based on how much contact you have with other drivers, with the track, how often you go off track, lose control, things like that. And then your I rating is based on how well you finish against other drivers. And it's like a crowdsourced system almost. If you finish better than a driver with a higher I rating than you get a little bit of their good I rating, and they get a little bit of your lower I rating. So you go up a little bit, they go down a little bit. So if you win a race against a bunch of drivers that are better than you, your I rating jumps way, way up. If you lose a race, particularly against a bunch of drivers who are not as good as you, then your I rating drops way, way down. Oh yeah. So it's a good system. The thing is, people will take chances in iRacing. that they would never take in real life. And so you have a lot more crashing, particularly at the lower levels where I sort of am right now. Even with an A license, it's still, your A license is based on your safety rating, but your I rating is how you get bracketed in with other drivers. And so if you do get bracketed in with a bunch of other drivers that are, kind of a lower I rating, regardless of safety rating, that's who you get put together with. So they may be menaces, is what I'm saying. And so there is a lot of crashing, and you can avoid those crashes, but the best place to avoid them is either way out front, right, or way out back. Well, I'm not fast enough to be way out front. The only place that leaves me to stay safe is off the back. So I start from the pit, and it's interesting that in iRacing at this level, you can, let's see if we can get past this fool. Bet we can. We cannot, sir. You can finish mid-pack without ever passing anybody. Start from the pit, and people will just crash out. And what works for me is when people that are up toward the front of the pack crash out, right? People with a higher I rating than me. So 30 people start, I finish 10th without passing anybody. Yeah. But that's just how I race. I bring to it, I think, kind of a realistic attitude or a realistic mentality. Like, how would I drive if I was driving in real life? And I certainly wouldn't put myself or the car in any kind of like random jeopardy. And I guess I also wouldn't put other people at risk. I wouldn't want to mess up somebody else's day or car or health. So I do start from the pit. And that puts me at a disadvantage. So that's me coming to terms with the fact that I'm probably never going to be as fast as I want to be. But now as I'm getting back into this, I'm going to be in GT3. I've graduated from the Miatas, which you can do at any time. It's not like you need to test out of it. You can race GT3 on your first day in the service. But I am going to be in GT3, and the AMG GT3, a car that I love, is available. I own it. I've skinned it. I'm ready to race it. Everything's good to go. But then, like, back in the corner of my garage under a tarp, I see the Ford GT3 abandoned by everyone. It is, so there's balance of power in iRacing, balance of performance, and essentially they want all the cars to be similar in performance, although in different ways. So some cars have more just top end speed, straight line speed. Other cars corner better. Other cars have, better entry. Other cars have better whatever. And it's a little bit hokey because all the cars being almost equal, that means you can drive any car. Well, different cars for different tracks, but you can swap out. You don't have to drive the same car throughout a season. It's a little bit hokey. But it has to be that way because the alternative is one car is objectively better than every other car. Everybody just drives that car, and then you've got spec racing, right? There's no variety. People want to see variety, and they want to participate in variety as well. Want to race against cars that are different than yours. So the AMG GT3, it works for me. It is a bit of a boat, but it's stable and it's fast, and I can go fast in it. I can qualify mid-pack in that car. Never took a pole, but I can at least represent. But that Ford GT3, it's no longer supported. Nobody's even doing setups for it. I buy my setups from a racing school. I have a subscription. It gives me access to unlimited setups for any week, because every week we're on a different track, and every week the track has different conditions. So you can't even use the same. You can't use the same setup on the same track if it's a different time of day or different temperature. Hang on, I got to concentrate a little bit. So you do have to buy new setups every week for every car. And I have a subscription, and I can just get as many as I want. But there's none for the Ford because it's been abandoned. It's been abandoned by iRacing. I think the only reason they won't boot it is because people bought it. I bought it. And they can't just take something away from people that they bought. So, we ready? Okay, we'll keep rolling. 45,000 pounds. That's not too bad. So in the meantime, it's just in limbo, right? Now you can go with a baseline setup, and that's what I do. But if I couldn't be off the front in the AMG, there's no way in hell I can be. I can't even get close in the Ford. But I love the Ford. I like the brand, and I particularly like that car. The Ford GT, from the original GT40 through to the reboot, whenever that was, 95 or something, all the way through to this new one, the new one. I just love that car. And I can drive that car, but I can't ever be competitive in that car. But maybe I couldn't be competitive anyway. So that being the case, why don't I just drive what I want? I guess that's what I'm getting at. So I've been practicing, because you can do track day condition practice for any race. So the first race of the season is going to be at Spa. So I've been practicing with other drivers at Spa. And the nice thing about practice is if there is contact with another driver, that doesn't count against your safety rating. It really is a time to practice. So I've been practicing with other drivers. And it's I have to say at the higher levels, the Miata is pure carnage. But as you get into higher levels and see the same names over and over, you do get a feeling for how much effort drivers are making to drive well and to stay out of each other's way and to not make dumb mistakes. Hang on, I gotta hit the coffee here. Losing my voice. Perfect. So we're all lapping Spa, and everybody's faster than me. But I'm doing my best to accommodate them, and they're being respectful of me. And then I notice that periodically I hear these comments come over the radio. And the first one was a French guy, obviously a French guy. But the gist of it was, hey, good for you, man, for driving that Ford. It's hopeless. You're going nowhere. This is a lost cause, but kudos to you. And that sealed it for me. When I heard that, I thought, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna try to compete from here on out in that car. And there's a part of you that thinks, well, I'll just turn 1,000 practice laps. I will become the Zen master of this car. And then, that will make the difference. And the problem with that is that other people are doing exactly the same thing in cars that are objectively faster than the Ford. So it's not like everybody else is just kind of phoning it in and I'm going to be, taking it seriously. Everybody takes iRacing seriously. And what I said earlier about there being a lot of crashes. It's not that they're not taking it seriously. It's not that they're not racing to win, but it's a video game at the end of the day. And if you wreck your car, nothing bad happens. You lose a few points off your safety rating, which you can get back via time trial, and maybe you ruin somebody's day. So what? Nobody gets hurt, and it doesn't cost anybody any money. And I think for that reason, people do take more chances in iRacing than they would ever take in real life. But it's not that they're not trying to drive as well as possible. They're just pushing harder than you would if there were real consequences. So those two things, for me to say, there's a lot of crashing. I'm not suggesting people are being reckless. I'm just saying that people are really, really pushing hard. Because why not? What do you got to lose? So we're coming up on 30 minutes right now, and I don't know how far we are. I think we got a ways to go. So let's do this. Let's go here first and see how far do we have. 78 miles, so that's about 5 minutes. Let's just go ahead and knock it out. Yeah, no point sleeping. Oh man, hope we don't catch this red light. The greens on this game are very quick. You know that. And that was explained to me in a way that made sense. And the way it was explained was because everything is compressed in this game, everything has to be compressed in this game. And the conversation itself was around mountains, right? Like coming down off a mountain in real life, brake fade, brake glaze, boiling your brake fluid, all that sort of stuff. You know, it's too bad we can't have that in Truck Sim. And the person who explained it did a really good job of it, and they said we couldn't because everything's compressed. Time is compressed, linear distance is compressed, and that means that altitude needs to be compressed as well. If not, you would either have hills that look like vertical walls, or you would have concentrating, big bend, or you would have brake fade and brake glaze would occur in like 10 seconds, right? Because we're 15 to 1. So that means in 10 seconds or 15 seconds, you've gone the equivalent of a couple of miles, and that's how long it would take to get brake fade. A couple miles in real life would be 10 seconds in game, or, right? See what I'm getting at? So altitude needs to be compressed. Everything needs to be compressed, including reds and greens, or there would be impossible gridlock. I'll go with it. I don't know that that's 100% valid. It makes sense. Works for me. But it's the compression part of this game is what really, I think, makes it work. Let's find a good gear here. Let's find a gooder gear. There's one. If all this game was driving on the highway, I think it would get old quick. If all this game was sitting in traffic in cities, I think it would also get old quick. I think they have found just an amazing balance and an amazing way to make highway driving go by at exactly the right pace, but also you get some of the city stuff as well. I love it. I'm so proud of SCS for what was it, eight people, sir? All right. It was like 8 people when ETS 2 came out, and now they're up to 100. They got a big office. They have these little parties, these reveals when there's a new DLC. They do, the last one I saw, they hit the big button and confetti went everywhere. Good on them, man. I love a success story. I like when people make it work. And plus, I just really like this franchise. I can't wait to see what's next. And I mean next. Like, what is the next iteration in the franchise going to look like? It's got to be something spectacular because they've grown this game so much. I feel like expectations are going to be high, and they've also got a kind of a dedicated fan base of nerds, myself included. So we'll be upset. We'll be unhappy with whatever direction they take it in. We'll complain, but I don't know, maybe they'll nail it. Find a way to make all their fans happy. Time 33 minutes. I think we'll be okay once we get out of this town. And we're in Provo right now. Look at the map. There you go. We are in Provo. Yep, okay. So 57 miles. Nah, that's not far at all. We'll go up the highway. Little deedly deet. That'll go by quick. Okay. This is not what Provo looks like, by the way. Been there. Doesn't look like this. It's a nice place, but doesn't look like this. All right, here we go. Now, we've been through Salt Lake a couple times. This might actually work out because it's 3 a.m. If we go through Salt Lake, we might see the big temple lit up. The big Mormon church, it's fantastic. It's beautiful. However you feel about different various things, that's fine. But you can't deny that it's a beautiful building. And at night when it's all lit up, it is really, really spectacular. When I lived in Moab, I used to drive back and forth to Salt Lake City a lot for business. And, all right, customer expects delivery. I'm on it. I'll be there momentarily, sir and or ma'am. Salt Lake City is a beautiful town. It's gorgeous. It's clean. It's fantastic. There's one downside, and when I say this, I'm not like, it's just a fact. But they get because of the geography and the, I don't know, the climatology, the climate, I think is. I made that word way more complicated than it needed to be. Because of the climate, the biosphere, whatever, they get a terrible inversion layer really at any time of year. And it can be a little, can be a little rough on the lungs and rough on the eyes. If you have allergies, it might not be the best place for you, but interesting. Okay, is this all us? I want to make sure we don't end up in oncoming traffic here. Okay, and then we'll go across. Tricky. So yeah, other than that, other than the smog, and it's not really a pollution smog. It's an inversion layer. It's slightly different, but whatever is in the city when the inversion layer settles is trapped there for the next few days. So it can be a little, not so cool. All right, through here. Fantastic. All right. Hang on. Let's look over here. Well, I mean, that's a lot of people working at 3:30 in the morning. That's been one of my items on the wish list with this franchise, is that they would have more windows go dark at night. And again, I know it can be done because modders have done it, but I would love to see that. Oh no. Are we detoured?
Then turn left.
Yeah, we are. Oh. That was the thing we did not need to happen.
Turn left.
Can't. All right. Well, now we got problems. All right, hang on. Let's go up here. I think we might have to call it. Hang on. Let's go here. And oh no, we can just go around. So we'll go here. Okay. Oh man, this trip is becoming an ordeal. We're gonna do it though. And somebody's having a bad night. What is it? 3:45 in the morning. You got multiple polices and fire trucks. Somebody's not having a good night. You'll have that. Right. And I kind of want to get over. How are we doing over there? We're okay. There we go. Concentrating. Beautiful. Right, so we go over here now. Next question is, are we going to be late? Have we been lollygagging enough, and have we had enough delays that we're going to be late? Maybe. Hope not. Although we're still sitting on, even after I bought this truck and I had to configure the trailer and do all kinds of stuff, even after all that, we're still sitting on like half a million US, so we're okay. Keeping the lights turned on. So this is like downtown Salt Lake. Yeah,
Keep left. Then
we,
turn left.
yeah, I don't know how they have it laid out. We may, I think we probably will not go past
Turn left.
the big church all lit up. That's okay. We'll see it at some point. Here we are. And then, yeah, back out into the country. So I will, that fan, like I said, it should be here tomorrow, Saturday. If not Saturday, it'll be here Monday. I know things are a little goofy delivery season because of the holidays, so you don't always get things when you want, but I didn't want to pay that ridiculous fee for overnight. But in the meantime, my system is up and running. My temperatures are okay, so everything should be able to continue uninterrupted. but it's also possible that I might go dark for a couple days, and that's just me being super, super careful to not cook off my CPU while I'm waiting for that fan to come in. Although it says that I have no temperature problems. You know what I mean? It's, you don't want to mess with that, particularly in a laptop. You don't want to mess with that. So we will monitor, and I may not have an ETS video for you on Monday, but you know, I may. And I'm still tempted to pull the trigger on a new system. I have been waiting and waiting. I was talking about it this time last year. I wanted to wait till spring, till the RTX cards came out, and they did. And I didn't think I'd be able to find an RTX card in a laptop. I didn't even know if I wanted to go with another laptop or if I wanted to go with desktop. Now RTX cards are everywhere, and the price is coming down. And you know, in terms of bang for the buck, you get a whole lot more PC when you go desktop rather than laptop, and you have the modular aspect of it, so you can expand it later. So we could go with, you know, an RTX now, and because it's got slots, we can drop in a second RTX and go SLI. We can do all kinds of stuff. I know, if you're into this stuff right now, you're saying, oh, SLI does nothing, you're wasting your money. Possibly. But things like power sources and cooling and everything else is modular. It's PC. You can do whatever you want with it. And if something goes wrong with it, you just, you know, you run yourself down to fries and buy another one, and you're good to go. And you don't need to go through this this process that I'm going through right now. So desktop, laptop, RTX, you know, everything's sort of coming together. It's just, man, I like nice stuff, but I hate spending money. I do. I wouldn't say that I'm cheap. I just hate spending money. I'll spend what I have to get what I want, but God, just could we wait maybe? Could we see if the price is going to come down a little bit? So to go from a $10 fan to a $2,000 gaming PC is kind of a jump, but I am tempted to just be done with it. I've been waiting so long. You know, it's crazy how many gamers I hear, like big time YouTubers, millions and millions of subs, to hear them say, you know, I just upgraded my system for the first time in whatever, a couple of years. And it's like, God, really? I'm surprised by that. Because you would think that they would always have newest and best, latest and greatest, because of the product that they're putting out. But I guess for some of them, it's like, you know, it only needs to be as good as it needs to be. I know some of them are already on 4K 120 FPS, which YouTube supports, but because so many people can't view in 4K 120, a lot of YouTubers aren't, because that's a big file to render. That's a big video to render and a big video to upload. A lot of YouTubers are just not really, I wouldn't say wasting their time on it, but there's no need to do that at the moment. But they have the capacity to do that. And then other YouTubers, like I said, you hear them talking about their system, and I think, well, that's not, I mean, for how much money I know you must be making, you would think that would be just an investment in continuing to grow your brand. But I guess if you don't need it, you know, why do it? So I hear people, I mean, some YouTubers, you know, they read their specs off, and it's like, God, did you get that from DARPA? How do you come by a system like that? And then others, it is a lot more modest and a lot more like, that's, you know, that's something like a human being would have. That's just a nice gaming system. It's not like bleeding edge technology, prototype, you know, NASA. So everybody does things their own way. That's the great thing about this world. So many different people in it, and everybody's figuring life out in their own way. I think that's awesome. Not a people person, but I think people are great. They're great when they're not around me. That's a good way to say it. I love and respect all people. I just like to keep to myself. Right, so we'll get this dropped off, and then I can start my weekend. And I've got a train video for you. I uploaded it yesterday. I'll make that public momentarily. And then I'll get this into render. It'll be up tomorrow, Saturday. And yeah, man, another week, another year, really. We're coming up on the end of 2019. I can't believe it. This year has flown by. Past 2 years, really. Go right Right through here. Oh, this is this copper mine. I recognize it. So we drove all the way out here to come to a new place. And it turns out we've already been here. Oh, ill will. Right. You have to pause for a minute to decide if they're going to let us in. Here we go. These good people going to work at 4:30 in the morning. I've been there, man. When I worked for UPS, when I first started there, my preload that I ran started at 4 a.m., so I went in between 3 and 3:30 in the morning. That's an early, early day. Going to bed at like 7 o'clock at night. I likes my sleep. I do. I hear people talk about, they get by on 5 or 6 hours of sleep. Props to you. I'm a 7 and 8 hours of sleep kind of person. Just makes you feel so much better. Get enough sleep, drink enough water, spend enough time at the gym. You will feel great. You just will. There's no two ways about it. It's not a debate. There's no discussion. Get enough sleep, drink enough water, spend enough time at the gym. You will feel great. Right, we're there. Long trip. How we doing? 46 minutes. Man, there've been a couple of long videos lately. I try to keep them to 30 minutes. Doesn't always work. But you know what? That's life. Right around there. Yeah, I remember we were just here, maybe not last episode. A couple episodes ago for ETS. ETS, the other one. The one we're in. ATS. Yeah, that's it. All right. Through there. Man, there's a lot of people out and about. I guess a place like this probably does run 24/7 though. Through here. I'm curious about the pink bucket on the dumper. I wonder if that is, well, I don't know what that is. I thought maybe it was supposed to be primer or something, but again, an operation like this, I think, they got enough money floating around that after they primer a piece of equipment, they could probably slap a little powder coat on there, All right, and once again, we came at it from the correct end. All right. So we'll get this parked, and we'll call it. Beautiful. It's all working out. Right through here. Don't hit anything. Right there. Maybe a little bit more. So we can slide that over. Right. Concentrating. Beautiful. Sort of. Here. Neutral. Set the brake. Parking lights on. Let's see how we did. We are late. I thought we might be. How late? 3 minutes. Okay, so it was the detour that killed us. That happens. Folks, thanks for stopping back to check out The Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of American Truck Simulator. And we'll see you next time. Take care now.